Hey everyone, welcome back to Corporate Decoder, the place where we dive into the nitty-gritty of company reports. And let me tell you, this one is a doozy. It looks like Cambium Networks might have some explaining to do about its past numbers. We're talking about financials that might not be as solid as we thought, and that's always a red flag we need to put under the microscope. Alright, so what we have here is a Form 8K filing from Cambium Networks Corporation. Think of this as a crucial update that companies have to send to the SEC. The big government body that keeps an eye on public companies whenever something significant happens. And today, August 7th, 2025, something pretty significant has happened. This filing is made because the company itself is saying, hey, wait a minute, some of the financial information we've given you in the past might be wrong. And that, my friends, is a pretty big deal. Cambium Networks is a company that provides wireless network solutions. You might not know their name, but they're likely involved in connecting things you use every day, from your home Wi-Fi to potentially bigger infrastructure projects. Anything connected, there's a chance Cambium is involved. The date here is important, August 7th, 2025. This tells us when they officially decided to pull the plug on their previous financial statements. Now, this is the core of the report. It's titled Non-Reliance on Previously Issued Financial Statements. What this means is that the company's leadership, specifically the Audit Committee, which is a group of directors who oversee financial reporting and audits, has concluded that some past financial reports and their associated auditors' reports should not be trusted. They're essentially saying, don't believe those old numbers. This means the official yearly financial reports for 2022 and 2023, which are usually considered the gold standard of financial reporting, are now under scrutiny. They were published in their Form 10K, which is the big annual report that publicly traded companies file. If these are unreliable, it's a major red flag. On top of the yearly reports, they are also withdrawing their reliance on pretty much all the quarterly reports from early 2023 through the third quarter of 2024. That's a whole lot of financial information that might be shaky. They're calling these the non-reliance periods. So what's the reason? Errors? Plain and simple. These aren't just minor typos. They're errors, serious enough that the company itself is telling everyone to disregard and to expect a restatement, meaning they'll have to go back and fix them. And it's not just the official SEC filings. Any public communication that talked about their financial performance during these periods, like earnings calls, press releases, or presentations to investors, should also be taken with a massive grain of salt. This really broadens the scope of what might be inaccurate. Adding to the drama, the company had already missed deadlines for its latest annual report for 2024 and the first quarter report for 2025. These missed filings, called past due reports, are often a sign that something is already going on behind the scenes with their financial reporting. And the reason for these further delays in filing those overdue reports is precisely because they're digging into these issues that are causing them to distrust their past financials. It's a snowball effect here. And because of all this, they're also going to miss the filing for the second quarter of 2025. So the problems are piling up and they're not even current with their filings. So what kind of errors are we talking about? The company has identified material errors, meaning they are significant, mainly in how they estimated variable consideration. This is a fancy accounting term, but it basically means money the company expects to receive that isn't fixed or certain. The big culprits here are estimates for sales returns, how much product they expect to get back from customers, and customer rebates, which are discounts or money back offered to customers. These estimates fall under a specific accounting rule called ASC 606, which is all about how companies recognize revenue. The company believes the models they used to calculate these estimates weren't good enough. They didn't seem to take into account information that was already available at the time they were making the estimates. Plus, they didn't go back and properly check if their estimation methods were accurate enough over time. This suggests sloppiness in their financial processes. If you're not using all the information you have to predict future revenue or costs, you're essentially flying blind, and that's an invitation for errors. The Audit Committee has decided these errors are quantitatively material, meaning the dollar amount of the errors is significant enough to sway a reasonable investor's decision. That's the key threshold. The good news, if you can call it that, is that so far they haven't found any evidence of deliberate wrongdoing or fraud. But that could change as their investigation continues. This is really important. The company had already disclosed that the internal controls, the systems and procedures they have in place to ensure their financial reporting is accurate and reliable were not effective as of September 2024, and that condition is still ongoing. When internal controls over financial reporting are ineffective, it means there are weaknesses that can lead to errors or even fraud going undetected. It's like having holes in your financial security system. And this review is not over. They are still digging, and they admit that more errors and more weaknesses in their internal controls could be found. This means the situation could potentially get worse. This is a company that's admitting its financial house is not in order, and they're still cleaning up the mess. They've also informed their current accounting firm, Grant Thornton, and importantly their previous accounting firm, KPMG. This suggests the issues might stretch back to when KPMG was overseeing their books. It's common for accounting firms to change, but when you have issues like this, the prior auditors often get involved to assist with understanding historical figures. They are actively working with both their current and former accounting firms to get these past financial statements corrected. This process can be long, costly, and complicated, often involving a deep dive into every transaction. Now, like most company filings, there's a section called forward-looking statements. This is essentially a legal disclaimer. Companies use this to say, hey, we're making some predictions about the future, but these are just best guesses, and a lot of things could happen that change these predictions. Don't sue us if things don't turn out exactly as we say. They list out all sorts of words like hexes, anticipates, plans, and believes that signal these are future-oriented statements. It's standard practice. They're basically saying that the future is uncertain, and many things outside of their control can affect their actual performance. This is important to keep in mind as we look at their future outlook. I specifically highlight some key risks. First, that their investigation might not be done and they could find even more errors. Second, that restating these financial statements will be expensive and take a really long time. This suggests that the problem is significant enough to cause major operational disruption and financial strain. They're telling investors to take all these risks into account when reading any future statements. Essentially, things could go sideways. This section is usually about the actual financial statements being filed with the report and any exhibits. The only exhibit listed is the cover page interactive data file, which is standard for SEC filings nowadays to make the data searchable and easy to use electronically. This is just a data file, not really new financial information. And finally, the signatures. This is where the company's authorized officers sign off on the report, legally affirming its contents. This is the legalese confirming that the report is officially filed on behalf of the company. And here we have the signature of Jacob A. Sayer, the Chief Financial Officer, who would be responsible for the accuracy of the company's financial reporting. He's the one putting his name and reputation on the line for this filing. And now let's transition to our analysis. What does all this mean for Cambium Networks? This report signals a significant problem with the company's financial reporting and internal controls. The fact that they're withdrawing their reliance on multiple past financial statements, including yearly reports, is a major red flag. It suggests that the reported financial performance over an extended period may not accurately reflect a company's true financial health. The core issue appears to be in how they've estimated variable consideration, like sales returns and rebates. When companies are imprecise with these estimates, especially when not using all available data, it can significantly distort revenue and profit figures. For investors, this raises serious questions about the reliability of past earnings, stock valuations, and management's ability to accurately assess and report on the business. The prolonged delay in filings and the admission of ineffective internal controls exacerbate these concerns. It points to deeper systemic issues within the company's financial operations. This isn't just a one-off mistake. It suggests potential weaknesses in accounting processes, oversight, and data management that have persisted for some time. The risks highlighted in the forward-looking statements, such as discovering more errors or significant costs and time for restatements, are substantial. This could affect the company's ability to secure financing, its stock price, and its reputation in the market. In simple terms, Cambium Networks has a significant accounting mess on its hands. The foundation of trust in their financial numbers has been shaken for a considerable period. While they say there's no evidence of willful misconduct, the errors are material, meaning they are big enough to matter to investors. The ongoing issues with internal controls mean that future reports also need to be scrutinized very carefully until these issues are fully resolved and audited. This situation creates considerable uncertainty for investors. It's like buying a house and later finding out the foundation is cracked. You can't be sure of its long-term stability until it's fixed. Cambium Networks needs to not only restate its financials accurately, but also demonstrate that it has robust internal controls in place to prevent such issues from happening again. Until then, extreme caution is advised for anyone considering investing in or holding shares of Cambium Networks. The company's direction is currently unclear without reliable financial guidance. Alright, that's our breakdown of Cambium Network's Critical Form 8K filing. What's your take on these issues and what they signal for the company's future? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. If this analysis was valuable, hitting that like button really helps us out, and don't forget to subscribe for more deep dives into corporate finance. Also, our Discord community is a great place to continue the conversation, and you can find the link in the description. Thanks for watching. See you next time on Corporate Decoder.